perhaps predicted that it was going to be a Mercedes that was going to be going quickest, and in particular that number 79 Mercedes of Law in the Toro Racing Mercedes. But it wasn't. It was the lime green Lamborghini which went to the top of the times. Didn't just go to the top of the times, went so by the margin of 2.6 seconds, which was an impressive margin for the number 9 car of Liang Xiaotong and the Harmony Racing Lamborghini. And as the cars are lining up down in the assembly area, down the order of very beautifully presented cars for the GT4 and GTCs. And following the conclusion of this qualifying session over 20 minutes, we will enjoy once again GT3 machinery around Macau, which is, David Anderson, a bit of a gift.
It is. It's the perfect way to round out the day, because it leaves you wanting more, and you can't wait to get back tomorrow morning to see a full day of racing. The GT4 qualifying session that's about to get underway is going to be very interesting as well. As you look at CRU's 718 Porsche Cayman GT4 RS Club Sport in the promotional colour scheme of the car when it was launched as a racer, and that car run by the RSR team with others that you've been seeing in the assembly area, including another of the Lamborghinis, the Parkview Motorcar Brian Lai. That went well earlier on in the day, but as Alan was rightly saying, the green Lamborghini of Liang Xiaotong, fastest in the first qualifying session. He's an experienced driver, is Liang Xiaotong. He's raced and won his class within the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia. He's also raced in Italian GT, in the International GT Open in Lamborghini, so he knows the car, knows its quirks, its foibles. As you look there at number 4, Macau Lock, another man from Macau, with the Lotus Exige S, which had problems yesterday, but the little Lotus, it's a bit breathless at certain parts, but it's good through the twiddly bits.
Nimble little car that, and proved over many years, the Lotus Exige. Exciting little car that. Does get rather dwarfed by the ever-increasing size of cars on track, GT cars on track. If you think about the GT3 cars that we'll have later on, the collection of cars, they take up the full width of the circuit almost on the narrower sections of the track. But, I think we're soon to go. We've lost 5 minutes, as we say, for Q2.
So, as the cars are about to be released, we're into the last minute before the marshals wave them out onto the circuit, and of course that drive time onto the track goes into the 25 minutes. The gate is opened, the fans are all there, camera phones at the ready to film or to still photograph the cars when they make their way on release. And it's going to be Liang Xiaotong, fastest in Q1 there in number 9 Lamborghini, that will lead them away as the green flag is being prepared. We can see the marshal just out of shot with the flag now, getting it ready to wave the cars away, and away now goes Liang Xiaotong, followed by the Mercedes of Law Kai Law, who was quickest in both sessions yesterday. A chance also to reflect in the number of different brands that we've got. Ginetta are represented, so Mercedes, so Audi, so Porsche, Mercedes AMG, more Audi, more Porsche, then BMW representation as the cars head out onto the circuit. And here, drivers get on with the job, because many of these, with respect, are the less experienced, or the AMs for GT racing, whereas were this the GT3 session, they'd be doing what that Mercedes is doing, weaving side to side to get the warmth into the tyres. But one question mark that we would have over all of this is whether or not we're going to see number 68 on the track. James Tang did quite a bit of damage to his Mercedes in Q1, and we await to see whether that car, and I haven't seen it yet.
What's your guess?
Good. My guess would be no.
Yeah, mine too.
It's not just the damage, it's also the amount of spare parts that you need, and more importantly, have.
Yeah.
And again, even if you're from mainland China, you know, this is still quite a journey. The logistics, you've touched on it already over the day, Al, and it's not an easy place to get to, so you have to think about what you need and how much you can take with you. There isn't that luxury of taking the kitchen sink.
Yep. Inevitably, there needs to be at least one trip over water to get to Macau. Well worth it when you get there. If you haven't visited Macau on Grand Prix week or any other time of the year, it is well worth a visit. There is no place like it on earth, and it's a quite splendid visit as they turn into Police up towards Moorish, out of the corner. That Lamborghini was so impressive earlier on, wasn't it?
And Liang Jiatong ahead of Lo Kai Law and then Chris Shear. These are the three drivers that have been the drivers to beat over the course of today in Q1, and three of the quickest and most within GT4 as well. Lo Kai Law, for example, has raced karts and Asian Formula Renault before turning his attention to GT cars. Chris Shear has been a regular in the category as well, and you can see the effect the cars have as they go past the fence. Look at the way it was rippling there.
Yes,
The effect of the air movement triggers the movement in the barriers as well. Right, so 20-minute session. There's an oil flag out at Marshall's post 11. I think that's a legacy of the previous road sport session. But Liang Jiatong is about to start a flying lap. These might, in quotes, only be GTC and GT4 cars, but they still are a mighty spectacle, especially when, as you'll see, these three be done. They're driven on the limit.
They really are. And, yeah, I just wonder going into this whether Lo Kai Law, earlier on when he went into Q1, thought it was going to be a repeat of yesterday, top of the times, and the Mercedes would be dominant. And then the lime green Lamborghini didn't just go on to provisional pole, but did so by such a margin. I wonder if there might have been a bit of head scratching after that session.
And they'll have to dig deep, but it's so much really down to the driver here. And Lo Kai Law will be absolutely determined to try and topple Liang Jiatong, but it's the Lamborghini that sets the target in the first sector on this flying lap. Having him ahead, in a way, is a good idea for Lo Kai Law, because he can measure his pace. He's got something to aim for here, not just the clock, but a quick car ahead as well. If I can get a bit closer, I know my time's going to be good. A very exciting driver is Lo Kai Law. That car yesterday, again this morning, on a number of occasions, you look at it and you think, that's it. He's over the edge.
It's too close.
But he brings it back time and time again, and it's not really had any dramas, but it's always looking as though it might just be happening.
Really pushing, really pushing, and spectacular to watch. Moments like that, with the barrier on the left-hand side, and very, very close, really exploring every single inch of tarmac around the gear circuit. This is spectacular, watching the two of them together through Police, out of Police corner. Am I right in saying that it got a little bit too close earlier on to the exit of that corner?
Yes, it was down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It's before Moorish Hill. So up to Donna Maria goes Lo Kai Law. And what I was predicting is happening, because as he's chasing, he's done an absolute best in the second sector. So that second sector time is better than the car that he's following.
Oh, this is going to be a fascinating Q2 as they turn out of Melco hairpin. They can unleash the power now as they go down towards and Lo Kai Law goes purple in sector 2 as well. It's not been a bad plan, this, is it, to follow the Lamborghini around?
Well, Liang Jiatong's going to set the target time, but I don't think it's going to stand for long before Lo Kai Law arrives on the scene and snaffles the top time away. Remember that in the earlier session, they were lapping at 2:29.1 for Liang Jiatong. And as he comes up towards the timing line, a 2:29 has got to be the target. So it is a 2:29.5, and Lo Kai Law goes through and does a 2:31.2. So I'm a bit surprised that the margin was so great between them.
Yes, and I think it was all on the final sector, wasn't it? As the Lamborghini pulled away, the Mercedes have been reeling the lime green machine in, and then on the final sector, when the power was unleashed, it did spread its wings. And now look at the gap between the two of them. That's the difference to the eye.
Tell you what, though, the first lap, the run all the way from the start down here to Lisboa between these two is going to be something to savour, because neither of them are going to want to yield. Both will be braking as late as they dare going into that corner. I suspect they'll try and be side by side for the bulk of that run, knowing that that's the position where the race could be won or lost, and it's the driver with the whatnots the size of space hoppers that's going to prevail, really, because that bravery into Lisboa is going to pay dividends, I'm sure.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Space hoppers. I haven't heard that word for a long time. Well done. This is the number 96 car of Li Chao in the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes AMG. That's the number 7 car of Lai Kit Meng, one of the regulars here at Macau in varying machinery over the years. RPM Racing Team Ginetta G55 GT4 car, and the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup cars have thus far gone better than touring cars in that they have now completed more distance before we have an interruption, and they're going very nicely indeed, so that they can actually put some meaningful laps together, get some pace, get some rhythm to the session, complete one lap, go on to another lap, and that's something that we've been a little bit lacking in the qualifying sessions today.
Rolling start for the GT races as well, just to clarify that. Traditional start for a GT race. So a slightly different approach, therefore, to the first few corners, because they'll have some momentum, which they wouldn't have from the standing start. As you look there at the Ginetta, number 7, still pressing on this car of former British Formula 3 Championship racer Lai Kit Meng.
You're very much an expert at GT racing.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I've just said it, so
right.
it's there.
On the spot, right?
How many opportunities for these sort of cars do they get for sprint races, the sort of length that we've got?
The answer makes me sound a bit flippant in a sense. And partly the answer is defined sprint, because the majority of GT4 races are 1 hour.
Right.
So the French Championship runs purely to GT4. There's the GT4 European Series. So those are 2 examples. They're 1 hour races.
Yeah.
Now, okay, a 1 hour race is clearly longer than what we're having here.
Yes.
But they're 2 drivers. So a stint is 25 minutes if you're a slow driver, and 35 max if you're a quick driver.
So about the same length.
About the same length, yeah. In terms of a stint. So in terms of a race, no, it's shorter. But in terms of an actual stint length, out of those 1 hour races, it's about the same. It's comparable. Yeah.
It's a bit unique because GT racing, by very nature of the beast, is largely about sharing a car. They've got the car all to themselves over the course of the Macau Grand Prix weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rarity.
I quite like that.
Yeah, and it's something that the drivers love. You know, anybody that does a double driver, even triple driver racing, will, of course, say nice things about their teammate, play the team game, as you have to, as you need to get the result out of the car. But ask any of them, are you happy, you know, watching from the pit garage? No, because it's all out of their control, and it's a very nerve-wracking time having to give what each driver thinks is their car to their co-driver. They're never the co-driver. They're always the driver, and the teammates are the co-driver.
And rarely do you have 2 drivers that fit exactly the same way. There are compromises that have to be made. There are seat cushions that have to be placed into the car to make the second driver comfy. And it's much better. That was close.
It was. This is Chris Shear, who's getting to his press-on mode. He's had a bit of a frustrating weekend, really, because he's always been, to use that time-honoured phrase, there or thereabouts. But what he's not been able to do is quite find the ultimate pace to get up with, like, Lord Kai Law and Liang Jiatong. So he comes out of the Melco hairpin, was a bit deep into it, but he has done 2 personal best, sectors 2 and 3 there. So Chris Shear makes the run now down towards Fisherman's into the right-hander, swings right. And then the run down now towards the R bend. So right now it is Liang Jiatong by about 1.5 seconds from the opposition, who is the fastest.
2:29.5 is the time for the number 9 Lamborghini, and that's getting a bit marginal, isn't it? And no way through just there.
That was Sam Yu's Lotus Exceed, wrong place, wrong time. I think Sam Yu did try to give as much room as possible to the quicker car.
Right,
Right, Liang Jiatong has gone through and quicker again. 2:29.589 is the time from Lord Kai Law, 1.6 seconds back the margin. And 9 minutes remain. It's gone quick.
I was just about to say, with 9 minutes remaining on the clock, we're getting proper, meaningful laps in here. It's really good to see. Top of the times is the number 9 Lamborghini, 2:29.589. Second quickest is the number 79 car, but they are getting into a rhythm, aren't they?
They are, and bailing out of the way there. Look, one car to let the traffic go through. It's another of the Lotuses, I think. Yes, it was. Right, Liang Jiatong being caught in traffic, but Lord Kai Law behind him. But actually, this might be a portent of tomorrow's race, because if the Mercedes can't get ahead of the Lamborghini by Lisboa, then he's got to think creatively over the remainder of the lap for the remainder of the race.
Such a striking-looking car, isn't it, the Lamborghini? And as it threads its way around the tight and twisty sections on the circuit, traffic is a feature. 98 car just in front of the Lamborghini. That's the car of Ming Chi Kin.
What you say about the Lamborghini, you're absolutely right. It is a striking shape, but so is the Mercedes, and so is the BMW, and so is the McLaren.
I know.
So it does fit to many of the cars, and that's another of the beauties of this. You know, that these are cars that excite just in their appearance. Even standing still, they look quick.
Yes, yes, yeah, they do. And these are cars of dreams, aren't they? And we have a full grid of them for the GT4, the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup, and for the final session that we'll have of the day for the Galaxy Entertainment Macau GT Cup.
So they're the Mercedes of Lord Kai Law closing right up onto the tail of the Lamborghini. But now, look, Liang Jiatong pulls the trigger, accelerates away, and tries to break clear of the Mercedes AMG. Striking shape, the Mercedes AMG GT4. Running behind on the road. But you can see the way the Lamborghini has just been able to extend that margin a little bit, coming through Fisherman's, and with 7 minutes to go, here comes Liang Jiatong for what might be his last push.
And we have 6 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the clock. A Lamborghini ahead of Mercedes. Both of them have been pretty much on it since they left pit lane, and they have completed now 5 laps about to be completed by the Lamborghini, and the Mercedes waiting for the Mercedes to come into view, which we don't have. So Lamborghini on its own down into Mandarin on the run down towards Lisboa. So the car bouncing over the tarmac on the run down towards the right-hander. Great overtaking opportunity. Matt Carlock was the car you saw slow on the left-hand side of your screen on the run down towards Lisboa. Car number 9, it is, that is on provisional pole, 2:29.589. And this is worth saying as well, that the Greater Bay Area GT Cup have, by and large, over the course of 2 free practice sessions today and 2 qualifying sessions today, have been pretty well behaved, haven't they? We've been able to actually see some meaningful laps put in, and the cars can get into a rhythm around the gear circuit, which is one of the keys to putting a quick lap together. Brian Lai in the number 2 car.
It's another of the quick Lamborghinis, isn't it, that? Brian Lai from Hong Kong, China, doing a good job. And Liang Jiatong then still the fastest with 5 minutes to go.
Lord Kai Law still second in the Mercedes AMG. And also, I did see that there wasn't the Mercedes in the background of the picture going down towards Lisboa behind the Lamborghini. That's because Lord Kai Law has come into pit lane. 2:31, 2:42, and I did mention that the number 4
flag.
Lotus was going slowly. Red flag.
Yeah, and that'll be that, won't it? With 4 minutes and 40 on the clock, that's going to be the end of the session, I would predict. So, again, frustration from race control's point of view, but if there's a car... What's slightly worrying is that we keep getting these cars expiring. Now, it could be that they've clanged a barrier and then stopped, but to have so many cars that when we look at them, there's no obvious damage, and therefore you instantly think...
just stopped.
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, agreed.
That is a very frustrated Lei Kit Meng, but he doesn't need to be telling the team to hurry up, because the session will not be resumed, as you see on the graphic there.
Ah, yeah.
So we were right. We're getting the hang of this.
Well, it's been a feature for the latter part of this afternoon. Local time just gone 26 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. But race control have been mindful of the natural curfew that we have here at Macau, which is at 5:45 when we lose light very, very quickly at sunset.
Exactly right. The roads need opening as well, but at most of the major junctions there are special barriers that are easily openable, if there is such a word as openable, and therefore it doesn't take that long. But the other concern, as Alan rightly says, is that you can't keep going in the darkness for not only competitors to see, but marshals to be able to see post to post as well. So we're about 10 minutes away from the start of the next session, which will be for the GT3 cars. So there'll be a quick break, and then they'll be out on track as swiftly as possible. So the final session of the day due to start at 4:30. So actually we're only going to be about 5 minutes or so late because of the stoppages in the last 5 minutes and sessions not being restarted. We've clawed back some of the lost time.
It has been a conveyor belt, hasn't it,
yeah.
This afternoon in the last few qualifying sessions. Confirmation, it's the Lamborghini Huracan that takes provisional pole. GTC car, 229.589 for number 9, and that is the car of Liang Tiao Tong in the Harmony Racing Lamborghini. Second quickest, Law Kai Law in the number 79 Mercedes AMG, and Chris Cha in car number 33, third on the provisional grid. When we say provisional, it's just because various technical checks will be made to the car following a qualifying session, and once all of the officials are happy that the cars remain in the position in which they have qualified, a grid will be issued tomorrow morning indicating the final grid positions ahead of race 1 for the weekend, which is going to be enjoyed around the gear circuit tomorrow. Qualifying is for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup.